Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Josh Halter, owner and founder of the Biodude. I'm at a little bit different of a setting today. I'm actually at home. I got Hercules right here. We're actually enjoying some of the Texas sunshine. I have his original cages enclosure that I got from Zach at cages.com. I'm going to give you guys that update video you guys have been asking for so long. And I'm going to go over the pros and cons that, that you're going to have to do to essentially maintain it, as well as some of the upgrades that I did to make the cage more viable for Bioactive. And that's going to be something that Zach and I are really excited to be able to offer on the Biodude here upcoming in 2019. But first, I want to show you guys something. This is Lucy. I'm sure you guys remember Wicket. Unfortunately, Wicket passed away, and now we're stuck with this monster. And this is my work-in-progress turtle pond. You know, that I've been working hard with maintaining and stuff. It's not done yet. We still got a lot to do, but, you know. Excellent. So, first, let's start off with the cage itself. So, what I did was, with the upgraded cage, I took the same platform and just screwed it on top and took it off. First, I'm going to start with things that you are going to need to know about. So you can see here, these acrylic, it scratches a lot, which kind of hindered the visibility. So since talking with Zach, my next model over here has upgraded polycarbonate doors that are highly resistant to scratching. With extreme excess, they can still scratch a little bit, but it's not going to be near what this is. Also, we have the acrylic doors being a little bit wobbly. These polycarbonate ones are, you know, a little bit thicker, and they're not near as wobbly, which is great. Overall, I had issues with initially maintaining my Sahara, in the aspect of, when I did this, the substrate was up to here. And so it was a little harder for me to gauge. I lost about 1 inch of depth, so I had to go in and add some more substrate. So overall, a cage this size, with just how sheerly big it is, we need 4 big bags of Terra Sahara to adequately, you know, fill it up. I initially did not use bioshot, the spag moss during the setup. So initially, the humidity was very, very high the first 2 days in here. I actually had to keep Hercules out of it to let the tank essentially cycle. So with this type of cage, if you don't have an animal that can handle humidity, you're going to need a couple days, if not a week, to be able to let your tank cycle through, so that way, you know, you're offering correct humidity and temperature ranges, because you're going to have to play with it a little bit, because these cages are a little different. This model only has 2 airflow vents in the back. That was a little bit of a problem, just because, you know, especially for the Sahara, you need to make sure that, you know, it stays dry at the top, moist in the middle and bottom, but you can't see the middle and bottom layers. So what you have to do is you have to check with your fingers, and that's what I was doing. But without the spag moss being in there, I had a hard time with the humidity retention that I like. Overall, the plants did really good, but Hercules just destroyed them. So you can see all the holes from him crawling over to them. You see some new cactus growth right here. You can see here the spaghetti agave that he ate down. He likes to trample. He's been picking at this thing and breaking it for a really, really, really long time. And the cactus is back here. You know, this is actually locked in place. I actually was just pulling this out. You can just look at it and see how, like, all the small holes just throughout the entire thing. So he's been getting at all these, and pretty much just systematically doing what he does and just destroying it. So he's happy in here, but really what needed to be fixed was the ventilation, which we got. So at this model right here, we added 2 more vents, a vent right in the back here, and we added a vent right in the back here. Right here. So now we have additional ventilation, and we have higher quality doors that won't scratch near as much. We also have the ability for a lock. So the stickiness on the back, you're going to need to most likely get super glue and super glue it on, because you just saw that it just came off here with a little bit of work. And that's something that I'm sure that, depending on the type of lock that you get, but these are compatible with the locks, and it just slides right on in here, and it will prevent these from being, opened. The next thing is the tracking. So I want you guys, so you can see right in here, substrate gets stuck in the tracking. I want to be honest with you, this was the biggest pain in the butt for me, because what would happen is I would try to shut my cage, and this would happen, and that's frustrating. So what I did was I purchased a small suction, like, you know, a little mini shop back at Walmart for $20, and that's what I use, you know, once a week to get any excess substrate that Hercules might have, you know, kicked up in here. So those are the cons that I did that for me. Not necessarily just the cons, but things that I really had to, you know, pay attention to and make sure that I kept up with it. Overall, the size of the cage is great. How easy it is to put together, it's great. How it looks, it's great. As far as maintenance is concerned, with me getting this set up now, which I'm going to just start doing, I'm going to be adding a little bit more steps in here, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. So when I sell these cages, I'm going to be having bioactive kits specifically for these cages because they're going to be done slightly different. This cage that you see right here, this is all going to be taken out today, and I'm going to be repurposing it for an Indonesian blue tongue skink, which I'm going to be doing one with a higher moderate humidity reptile, so I can give you guys the full-fledged experience the best that I can with that, and also talk about heating elements with the inside of the cage and protecting your animals from being damaged from those heating elements. So let's get started on building, because I've been talking a lot. So first I'm going to grab one of my big bags of Sahara, and I'm gonna open it up and dump it. All right. Hi, Hercules. What do you, I know the earth is kind of shaking right now, isn't it? That's my fault. I'm just fixing up your cage, dude. You know. So my overall plan is I'm gonna do another, obviously another quick follow-up video in about 3 months with how this cage with the additional stuff with the changes is doing. But at the end of the day, this is not going to be Hercules's permanent enclosure. I'm going to be purchasing another cage from Zach at cages.com for one of his extra large enclosures that are about 6 feet by 2 feet by 6 feet, strictly for him, which I think is going to be pretty cool. And he's loving the Texas sunshine. He's all flattened out on top here. Really liking it, soaking in the UVB. And as you know, there's an Arcadia 12% UVB in here. As far as the heating is concerned, low wattage, guys. This is a 50-watt bulb, and I was getting a 100-degree hot spot right here, while the cool end was 70. Very, very low wattage type of bulbs in here, just for the simple fact of the less than, you know, amount of airflow that they're getting. So then I'm going to take some of my moist spag moss and leaf litter. Now remember, guys, I did not put spag moss in here before, but now that there's additional ventilation, I am very, you know, inclined to say that this is going to be just fine. And it's really going to help my terrarium maintain that middle in the moist in the middle and the bottom, but dry on the top, which is the most important aspect. Next, I'm going to start gutting this tank. I'm start putting some stuff here in the bin, and to hopefully be able to repurpose a lot of these plants, or I can plant them out here, and my tortoises will love to eat them. One of these days, I'll take you guys over there and show you my tortoise pens for Butthead and Little Stubby. And Butthead is a pancake tortoise, and Little Stubby is a rescued 3-toed box turtle with only 3 legs and a messed up shell. You can see here's the remains of the spaghetti agave. I brought a new one for him just because I knew. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna scoop. Now, if you guys will remember from the last video, there are isopods, springtails, earwigs, a bunch of living creatures in here. Oops. And I'm really excited to get this cage repurposed for an Indonesian blue tongue skink. I'm most likely going to order new doors for this cage just because so it's not all scratched up in the front. And when I order the new doors, you know, that's going to be something that I'll offer on the website as well for, you know, the people who want to try to go with a cheaper option. Because something that I'm working on is being able to have, you know, a very specific amount of his cages on my website for you guys to buy with free shipping. And it's looking like that's going to happen with how much I like these cages and with how well they're working. But before I offer, you know, bioactive kits for some of them, depending on what species we're talking about, I need to have a little bit more experience just with these cages, so that way I can give, you know, as sound of advice as possible. And of course, seems like there's going to be a little bit of this left, but I'm going to put a lot of substrate in here just because of how much it, you know, sank in last time. And again, it's better safer than sorry. Then, okay, cool. So now we have a nice hearty mixture. We have the already jump-started Sahara on the top. We have a nice moist sphagnum moss leaf litter mix in the middle, and normal Sahara on the bottom. And what I'm gonna do is, since I dumped in 2 more quarts of soil, excuse me, 2 36-quart bags, I'm gonna dump in 2 36-quart bioshots, and I'm gonna thoroughly mix it up. Cool. Now the bioshot is completely harmless. It is given in 100% organic forms and will jumpstart your plants and your soil very quickly. So now that we have, you know, pretty much everything set up here, we have the substrate. You know, his hotspot is going to be right here, and that's what I'm going to be centralizing. So I like the look of the ghostwood and the grapevine, but you know, the wife said to me, Josh, can you please use a different piece of wood? And I found this awesome piece of cork bark tube, excuse me, and I'm going to put that right here. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm going to take the cacti. I'm going to split them in half. I'm going to put one cactus all the way back here, all the way in the back. There we go. And you guys remember, it's important to always bury the cacti deep because their roots like to go deep, from my experience. Okay, cacti's right there. And we can handle those types of, you know, that type of heat that's going to be surrounding that hot spot. And then we do have some ghostwood and some grapevine. So what I'm going to do is first get the buffalo skull, the Exoterra buffalo skull. I'm going to go next time over here. Put the buffalo skull right like that. I like that. And then we got some edibles here. So we got some organic basil from the grocery store and the spaghetti agave, and he loves his basil. Most of the time, come here, Herc. Most of the time, he'll end up eating it, you know, before it even gets anywhere. But you know what? That's okay. That is why we do what we do, to provide them enrichment and make them feel like wild animals, act like wild animals, via nurturing their natural instincts. And I'm gonna put basil here. Now the basil, if you're planning on trying to have it survive, which is entirely possible, I've had rosemary, thyme, parsley, and basil successfully thrive in his terrariums for months. The point is keeping them watered and making sure they have a solid amount of light. And I got his water dish. I'm gonna put his water dish right here. And I always put a piece of cork bark in the water dish, so that way if any crickets or anything like that, they have a spot to get out. Okay. Okay. Got ghost wood. And then there's only one more thing I want to add in there. And for once, I'm not putting in the elephant feed because he absolutely destroyed the last elephant feed tree. It was gone in under 10 minutes. He just demolished it. He's been spoiled. This is what he wants. It's what he likes. So getting the cactus planted really deep right there in the back. And then, you know what? I'm going to put this right here. And then I'm going to give everything a really solid, yeah. So I like this. So essentially what we're looking at here is he has a lot of space. He can go into the tube and sleep. He can bask on top of the tube, and he can come over here on the cooler end and just sit there and be lazy, which is really what we all know that bearded dragons like when they're not, you know, hunting and, you know, destroying everything. I'm going to put just a little bit more of this leaf litter and spag. Now, this spag and leaf litter is moist right now. It is. But it will dry out completely and be bone dry within 2 days. And then it's going to remain like that until you have either your isopods, if you choose to use isopods, or until the bioshot takes its essential funguses and bacteria to slowly break these down, creating, you know, your recycled bioactive environment. So let me move it over here to the other side, because I like it. Brandon, what do you think?
I dig it.
So with this cage, I'm really excited, you know, to have this. I'll make sure to do an update video for you guys here in probably about 2 or 3 months with this cage, as well as another video that's going to come out in most likely about 3 weeks when I update this cage for the Blue Tongue Skink. And I just want to thank everybody for their continued support of the BioDude. You can visit my website, thebiodude.com. Come to my showroom in Houston, the BioDude Houston, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Follow me on Instagram, on YouTube. And let's get Hercules in here and watch how he likes it. All right. The dude abides.